Welcome to Fountain Springs and happy Mother's Day. To all the mothers out there, we love you. We are so excited about today that we get to celebrate who you are. If you've been around the church for a little bit, we've been in a series that is talking all about self-talk. And last week, David gave a powerful message about our words. What we're going to do today, because we want to love on our moms, is really take a sidestep from that conversation and look at a story in the Old Testament that talks about women and mothers and what they already intuitively know. The story I'm going to tell you comes from 1 Samuel 25, and instead of reading all of the content, what I want to do is just tell the story to you. It's a story about three main characters, and the story goes like this. There are two people, their names are Nabal and Abigail. They are a married couple, and they're extremely wealthy. The area that they live, they have sheep everywhere. They're known for just this abundance kind of living. It's like Bill Gates and Melinda Gates of the time period. Now, Nabal and Abigail are in a time where they're sheep shearing, which means it's payday for them. They've worked long time raising their sheep, and they're about to get paid big. Well, the third character that I mentioned is actually David. And David is living in the caves nearby with a few guys, 600 of his top warriors. So 601 people are living in the caves nearby Nabal and Abigail, and there's this story that kind of comes about. See, 601 men, we know one thing about men: we're always hungry. These guys are extremely hungry, and they have been protecting Nabal and Abigail and their shepherds. So the shepherds have been coming and going, and they've been secretly watching over the sheep, without really telling Nabal and Abigail that they've been doing this. So David gets this idea, and he sends off some messengers to Abigail and Nabal and tells them, hey, look, would you just give us some food? We're very hungry. We've spent this entire time taking care of you. Can we just come to the party and feast with you? Can we get what we deserve? And Nabal, this angry man who's not only rich, but he's extremely greedy, gets in David's messenger's face and basically just tells him, you're an idiot. Like, no, we're not going to give you anything. I don't even know who you are. So David's messengers rush back and get to David. And David is angry. He's extremely angry, and he yells to his troops, strap on your swords. So they do. And they march, yeah, right? They march down to meet. Now, this is not one of those, hey, we're going to get our swords and we're just going to go down and show them the sword and then get the food and it's going to be this thing. No, they're going to get what they deserve. See, warriors don't mess around. Warriors are known for how well they kill someone else. And David is so angry, and he's got his men riled up. They're all in this just thing. They rush down with their swords, and then Abigail hears one of the messengers that's watching, runs back to Abigail and gets Abigail's attention. Hey, David and his warriors are coming. Here's what happened. Nabal screwed it up. It's this whole thing. It's crazy. I need you to do something. So Abigail immediately gets a donkey. She loads that donkey with food and sends it off. She's smart. She knows if anything's going to stop them, it's going to be food. That's what they wanted in the first place. So she does this. She sends them food. Then she gets on a donkey and follows that food. And she presents herself to David, and she says these magical words to him. And it's like she's just being a good person. Now, I tell you this story. We're going to actually look at her words and all this in a minute. But I tell you this story because Abigail is the mothers in the room. Abigail knows that there's really three things that all of us need. And as I teach today, I want you to grab a hold of each of these lessons that I'm going to teach. But it's all coming from this story about Abigail. The first thing Abigail knew was food. The lesson she teaches us is food. Everything is better with food. Can I get an amen? Food makes everything better, especially if you're hungry, or should I say, hangry. You know this term if you've been around for a while. The word hangry is this combination of hungry plus angry. Scientists have found that this is not just a term that we've coined but for funny reasons. It actually is happening in the body. What happens is hormones are produced that tell us you need to get food, and if you don't get food, your blood sugar is not going to come up and things are going to get bad. What's crazy is that these same hormones produce irritability. So hangry is a thing. And what we see in Abigail's story with David is David and his men are hangry. They're hungry and they're angry. And what she does is phenomenal. Let's look at it. It's 1 Samuel 25, verse 18. Abigail wasted no time. She quickly gathered 200 loaves of bread. She got wineskins and she slaughtered these sheep, and she got roasted grain and raisins and fig cakes, and she packed them on donkeys, and it went ahead. Abigail knows that food does this crazy thing to us. What it does is it satisfies a need we have, and Abigail sends this on the way. And David is met with food first. Not confrontation, not words, not anything else, but food. And moms, you know this, and you do this all the time. When your kids are getting irritable, you ask a couple of questions. And the first one is, are they hungry? The second one is, do they need sleep? You know that when they get irritable, there's some reasons why, and moms go right in and they send food or they go get food. Abigail does this. When I lived in South Africa, I worked with a pastor he would always ask one question at the beginning of anything we were planning, and he would ask the question, what are we serving for food? And in my ignorance, in my young missionary mind, I pulled him to the side and I said, hey, pastor, why do you do that? Why do you always ask about food? He said, Ryan, the reason why I ask about food is because imagine right now that you are hungry. I know for you eat. We both eat regularly, but we are ministering to people that don't eat regularly. So why would we have them gather and listen to something without satisfying the need that they have first? See, he's right. We need to provide for the need so they're not thinking about the sound of their stomach while we're trying to preach the gospel. And the same thing is true of you and I. We need sustenance so we can do life. There's this, when we were in foster training, my wife and I, we were trained to understand the table, like the kitchen table, as this place of healing. What we were taught was that the table was symbolic of someone's identity. As we listened to the trainer, I was like, this is blowing my mind because I don't understand quite what she means. She said, if you forget all the training in the world, all I want you to remember is this. And she grabbed this giant placemat. She said, I want you to go to a store and I want you to get a construction paper. And I want you to have your kids design their own placemat with their name and color it and do whatever they want on that placemat. I want you to go home and I want you to give them a seat at your table. I want you to put that placemat in the same spot every single time you eat at that dinner table. And as you eat at that dinner table, what's going to happen for that child is they are going to identify themselves with a spot at your table. You have to surround yourself and be at that table every day. You don't even have to use any other words, but just show up at the table and give them food. And something will click in their head. And that thing is this: I belong and I'm taken care of. Moms, you get this. You're so good at it already. I'm preaching to the choir because you know when we sit down at the table, it's completely different than grabbing fast food. When we sit down at the table, something unlocks, and we get to interact on a face-to-face level without phones, without distraction, and we get to say to one another, I care about you, and you belong here. I read a science study recently, and I kind of want to read you what was said about the dining room table. And it said this: It said students who do not regularly eat with their parents are significantly more likely to be truant at school. In fact, the study goes on to say that it's double the truancy rate. It's double what it normally is if they don't eat regularly at a table. It goes on to say that children who do not eat dinner with their parents at least twice a week also are 40% more likely to be overweight compared to those who do. So it's scientifically proven that kids that don't sit at a dinner table with this identity and they're not identifying as with someone else are heavier, less healthy, and they're going to miss school. But then the study goes on to say this: on the contrary, children who do eat dinner with their parents 5 or more days a week have less trouble with drugs and alcohol, they eat healthier, and they show better academic performance. And the report being closer with the parents than their children who eat dinner with their parents less often. So what happens is they identify with you as the family. They have an identity in your family. They're less likely to go crazy. They're less likely to use drugs. They're less likely to be violent because they belong. We all want to belong. And food and being at a dinner table with the same people regularly does that. And Abigail knows this. She didn't know the science because the science just coming out, but she knew that there was a hunger element that she needed to satisfy for David to come down off the mountain of emotion. She knew this. The second idea that we learn from Abigail's story is respect. There's this crazy respect Abigail has. As she jumps on her donkey and meets David, this happens. 1 Samuel 25 says this, verse 23, when Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed low before him. She fell at his feet and said, I accept all blame in this matter. My Lord, please listen to what I have to say. Not only has she satisfied the need of food, and there's this belonging, she goes above and beyond. She respects him with more than he deserves. She jumps off this donkey, she bows low. She gets low to the ground as if she was his servant. Now you got to understand, David has no status. He has no power. He's hiding in a cave from a guy who's chasing him, King Saul. He has no reason for anyone, excluding his warriors, to bow down or respect him. And especially this person, Abigail, who is going to get murdered by him. She has no need to actually do this, but she does this because she understands that respect provides dignity. It gives back dignity to a person. When I bow down and I actually serve someone else, or I do something that goes against what the norm is, all of a sudden that person goes, why do you care so much? No, get up. Don't use that title. Don't do that. No, but I'm honored to be in your presence. I care about you as a person to person, I care about you. Now, am I saying go bow down to everybody? No, that's not what I'm saying. But respecting a person with giving them something they don't deserve in respect, all of a sudden creates this dignifying relationship that's being built between the two of you. In Finland, they did a study. Finland's prison system has been a mess for like 35 years. And it's actually been as bad or worse than the Russian prison system. And there's just these horrific stories about incarceration levels and murder rates and just crime rates. And it's just an absolute mess. So the Finnish people in charge decided we need a new vision for our prison system. And what they did was they went with a respectful system that dignifies the people in the system. What they did was they took down all the bars. Nobody was in a locked room. They, instead of guards talking to the prisoners at using their prison number or using something else, they talked with them, they termed them clients. They began to talk to them name by name. It was first name basis. And it became this rehabilitation center for the individual. What the prison system was doing was now giving dignity back to these guys that had made mistakes. And the results are astounding. What happened was prison recidivism, or going back to prison. What was happening was they weren't coming back to prison. They weren't committing crimes when they went out. Prisons had to shut down. They saved a ton of money doing this because there's this dignity that was restored. And human to human, when we say, I know you made a mistake, the reason why you're in this penal system in general is because you've made a mistake, but you are not a mistake. You are not that person anymore. What does it mean to actually be a person that doesn't commit crime? All of a sudden, that gives us dignity. Oh, wow, I could be somebody different. It gives us hope. It tells us, wow, people actually see me and know me and want me to do better. What does that mean for my life? The Bible talks about respect all over the place. In fact, I want to show you a couple verses because I think it's important that we look at it. Matthew 7, verse 12, it says, do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and prophets. The golden rule, we know this. Do unto others as you would have them do to you. If you committed a crime, how would you want people to respond to you? Would you want to be locked up? There's something crazy about the fact that being behind bars, what it does to your psyche is it tells you, I am this limitation. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you is, no, there's no bar, because yes, we all make mistakes, but there's this thing called grace, and we're going to give it all the time. There's this thing called respect, where we're mutually going to respect one another and speak, yes, no, you don't have to stay there. You can be something else. There's another verse in Peter that goes like this, 1 Peter 3:9, don't repay evil for evil. Don't retaliate with insults when people insult you. And my favorite part, instead pay them back with a blessing. That is what God has called you to do, and He will grant you His blessing. See, when we do something, right, it's easy to go, you deserve to be in that prison for that reason, or you deserve to never see the family again, or whatever it is that we do. What happens is that hatred or that feeling actually comes back on us. We actually wear that, and it's a weight. And it doesn't dignify the other person, and it doesn't dignify us. It's this weight we wear around. But when we return an insult with this blessing, with this respectful change in demeanor, when we go, no, there's something special about who you are. The blessing is a two-way blessing. Not only are they blessed by that interaction, we ourselves are blessed. God gives the blessing back to us. Because you know this, when you extend grace to somebody, that grace is felt by you. Right? When you forgive somebody and you go out of your way to say, you screwed it up, you messed it up, but I forgive you, you release that person and you release yourself, and you no longer have to think about it. See, this story that Abigail is involved in, she knows this. She knows that when she bows low, there's this thing that David, that's going on in his mind that says, wait, hold on a second. Why are you bowing down to me, the angry guy with the sword that's about to kill you and everything you love? Hold on, let me put this sword down. And it dignifies the conversation again. It pulls him in a way that he wouldn't be. Mothers, you do this all the time. I've seen you at Target. I've seen you at Walmart. I've seen you all over the place. When your kid's going nuts, I want the candy. And you get down on your knee and you look them in the face. Say, baby, I understand where you're at. Will you take some breaths with me? You're respecting them beyond what they deserve. What they deserve is, yeah. What they deserve is, no, you stop crying, don't. No, but that's not truly what they deserve, because we know there's something better inside of them. So we get down on our knee, and I've watched you moms, you sweetly talk to them. I don't know what's going on in your heart, but I know there's this sweet voice that's coming out, and there's this interaction happening, and you're dignifying your child. Man, imagine if we all did that in every interaction, what would things look like? See, the second idea that Abigail is teaching us is when we respect someone, we dignify them, and there's this open dialogue that can begin. The last thing Abigail teaches us is the power of words. Now, like I said, we've talked about the power of words, but I want you to see specifically how Abigail uses words to speak beyond what would be normally said to someone that's about to harm her. So let's look at it in 1 Samuel 25. It reads like this, verse 28. Please forgive me if I've offended you in any way. Remember, she's bowing down. She's saying these things as she's bowing in respect to him. The Lord will surely reward you with a lasting dynasty. How does she know that? She has this vision for David. She has this wisdom to step out of the moment and say, there's something else going on, David, that you may not realize. For you are fighting the Lord's battles, and you have not done wrong throughout your entire life. Remember, David, who you are. Remember that this is not the type of person you are. You're hangry. We've dealt with that. But there's something beyond. There's this thing that you are, David. It's going to be this lasting dynasty. Don't let this moment screw it up. She continues on. And it says this, even when you are chased by those who seek to kill you. She's speaking specifically. She's saying, Saul's coming after you. Even when you're chased, right now in this moment, you're being chased. Your life is safe in the care of the Lord your God, secure in his treasure pouch. Meaning, he holds you so close, you are his prized possession, and it doesn't matter who's after you. He cares that at that level. He cares. He does not want to lose this treasure, so he keeps it close to him. But the lives of your enemies, yeah, all the people that do you wrong, the people that flip you off or cuss at you or say bad things behind your back, those people will disappear like stones shot from a sling. Now, we stop right here. If we look at this, what she's doing is she's speaking present. In the present, this is going on for David. And then she throws this ringer in there. She uses a sling, which all of a sudden draws David back to his past when he was a shepherd boy and he would throw rocks at a tree to learn accuracy and get good at it. And then he would go on to be this warrior, young man who becomes a warrior in a moment when no one would fight Goliath. He slays Goliath with a sling. And she goes, your enemies, they're going to be thrown out like a stone from a sling. Hey, remember, it's not just about your present that we're talking about. David, it's about your past and who you are and the character you've been shaping and the person you've been becoming and this work that you've been doing. Don't forget about that work, and then don't forget about the faith you placed in this God. When you stood up, you know you could fling that rock with accuracy because you practiced. But there was this other thing going on where you had immense faith in the power of God that he would overcome the enemy for you. Don't forget that, David. Last verse. When the Lord has done all he promised and he has made you leader of Israel, don't let this be a blemish on your record. Then your conscience won't have to bear the staggering burden of needless bloodshed and vengeance. And when the Lord has done these great things for you, please remember me. When God himself puts you in a place of authority, don't let this present moment ruin your future. the future influence that you have over others, the place where you think sometimes you deserve something better. There's this future David that God has in place for you, and don't let this moment, this anger, this position do something different to you. Don't. You're better than that. You're better than that. See, what Abigail has taught us is this. There's this moment where we all want to belong. Every single one of us in the room wants to belong. We want to sit down at a table and we want to have food. There's going to be moments that we're hangry. There's going to be moments that we don't like the people we're sitting with. There's going to be all these moments, but when I sit down at my table in front of my placemat where I belong, that means something. When I'm respected, when I'm at this place where people are saying, hey, how are you? Are you okay? I know you're throwing this crazy tantrum, but like, are you okay? Can you take a breath? Can we get down from that emotion? They're saying this, I see you. And then with words, they're using their words to come around you and to speak this value over you. They're using their words to say there's this past in who you are and this character that you've been developing. And there's this present, this person who you are right now. And there's moments you don't love about it. But there's this future that's coming that's so positive. There's this thing that God's doing in your heart and in your life. And I don't want you to ruin it by this present moment. You belong here. I see you. And there is value for your life. I see you as a king or a queen. Yes, you're a toddler right now, or yes, you're a baby in diapers, but I can still speak to your value. You belong here. I see you. I love you. Moms, you do this. You do this all the time. You're so good at this. Imagine what it would look like if all of us led by your example. If we looked at your example and said, I'm going to lead my life just like that. I'm going to invite people to my table. I'm going to sit across the table and see them and tell them that they belong by my presence. I'm going to leave my phone at the front door so I can't look at that distraction because the person in front of me belongs and they matter to me. And I want them to know that. And then I want to respect them. I want to show them that I see them. I see their moment. I see where they're at. I know the emotions that are coming. And then I want to speak value over their lives. See, Mother's Day gives us an opportunity to speak words that are so powerful over people. And I want to challenge you today. As you walk out, you're going to get a card. And I want everybody to do it. I don't care what your age is. I don't care if mom is far away, thousands of miles away, or she's gone to be with the Lord, or whatever other excuse we can make for not being a part of it. I want you to just erase the excuse and say, I'm going to do it. And what I want you to do is I want you to grab the card and I want you to write words to a person you love. Maybe it's just a mother figure, this person in your life that's come into your life to make a huge difference. Write that person a note. But beyond that, what I want you to do is I want you to deliver those words to them specifically. If they are in proximity for you to take them out to lunch, I want you to take them out to lunch or to dinner or to whatever. I want you to invite them to the table. I want you to show them your physical presence matters to me. Some of you are going to have a hard time. You're not words of affirmation people. You're not these people that just throw positive words out. It kind of scares you a little bit. Then take what you write on the card and read it to them. Take a moment and read the words out loud. Tell them they belong. See them. And use your words to make a difference in their world. Moms, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for feeding us, respecting us, and I want to thank you for using your words to guide us. Imagine with me if our community, if our church just did these 3 simple things. We invited people to dinner. We respected them beyond what they deserve at the moment. And then we spoke to them. We spoke to their value. We guided them with our words. Imagine what it would look like. We get to be a part of that. Let's pray. God, I thank you for these moments where we can gather and we can celebrate women in our lives. These people that have sacrificed so much, selflessly giving. At times selflessly giving their food to us, their space to us, their care and compassion to us, without this desire to get anything back. Lord, today we celebrate them. And God, I pray that we would be challenged today and inspired by the message that we all have the opportunity to be like mothers. We have an opportunity to help people belong. We have an opportunity to respect them, and we have an opportunity to speak words of value over their lives. God, make us a community of people that do that regularly. May we be quick to give you the honor and the glory. Amen.